Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome back to some more Overwatch. Now the other day I had a look at my statistics page and I found out, quite surprisingly enough, that I had the highest win percentage as well as the most games won with Symmetra. Now it was kind of weird because I feel like I don't play all too much Symmetra, so I've started dedicating a lot more games to her. We still got a very high win percentage on here, and today we're gonna try and see if we can up it a little bit more. Alrighty, and we find ourselves on the defending team on Hollywood, and I'm not gonna lie, Hollywood is one of my absolute favorite maps for playing Symmetra. Now obviously, first things first, we're gonna have to use our E ability here to try and provide the entire allied team with a little bit more shielding. Now the one thing that you will notice when playing Symmetra is that everyone always runs away from you. No one really likes shielding, but either way, the nice thing that Symmetra is really good at, and I think the main thing that's been winning a lot of games, is just simply blocking off certain paths on the map. Now in Hollywood, you've got a couple options. You can block off this area over here quite easily. I generally speaking hang out over here instead. So I'm not gonna really create one big death room like I used to do a lot in the beta of the game, where I would just sort of put all of my turrets in one spot and hope that allies would, or enemies would walk into it, because obviously that does work, but in most situations, it really, like if you're up against a good bunch of players, it really doesn't work out very well. So I've been spreading out my turrets a lot more to try and just simply tickle the opponents. Now one of the things I've noticed is that if you hear that beam sound, right, like zzz, the one point where the turret is actually attacking, like the Sentry Turret is actually attacking the hero, all of a sudden, all the enemy heroes start freaking out and they start like looking around and whatnot, at which point your allies can easily pick them off, even though it doesn't deal a whole lot of damage. Now the nice thing as well about the right click ability, and that's one of the strongest abilities in the game in my opinion, is that it goes straight through shield. So you see that Reinhardt over there? I'm just simply focusing on him right now with my right mouse button click, knowing that he's gonna have a very hard time pushing into me. Now half of my health is gonna be in shielding, and shields regenerate after a couple of seconds. Meaning that, ooh, he was almost down. Meaning that, if I don't take damage for 3 seconds, I'm gonna be in a great spot. And as long as I back up into my turrets, I'm gonna be in a really nice situation, because I'm simply gonna be capable of pushing onwards here. Now the ultimate that I have, the teleportation, or the teleporter rather, is stupidly powerful. Right now in our spawn, there will be a little bit of a, I'm not gonna worry too much about defending that objective, by the way, that's not where I shine. But right now in our spawn, there's gonna be several, man, they're pushing really hard now. That's kind of unfortunate. But right now in our spawn, there's gonna be a teleporter that my allies can use to go through, and they will be able to get towards the objective much faster. Now next to my ultimate charts at the bottom of the screen, you can see that there's currently, I'm super low. There's currently a 6 charges remaining. That means that there's gonna be 6 more ultimates that can be, or like 6 more teleportations that can be used, and it will allow the team to get towards A much sooner. So in particular on defending maps, oh man, I gotta be careful. In particular on defending maps, and I do get taken out sadly, playing a Symmetra is stupidly helpful, in particular in the first and second position. Just because that's really where she's gonna be helping out the team the most, because, well, the walkback time is normally gonna be the longest. Now, so far, I'm not gonna lie, the enemy team has done a very good job at getting towards the objective, and I've been trying to put down my turrets everywhere I can, but they've managed to basically mess me over quite a long time. Oh man. Oh man, lots of damage coming in once again, and it may very well be able to push out the objective. Now, I'm just trying to throw these balls around to the best of my abilities in the general direction of where the enemies are located, and it looks like for the moment, at the very least, we've managed to push them back. So notice, like, in the past, in the beta, and we are gonna grab an armor pack, by the way, which is really helpful. In the beta of the game, I used to really put all my turrets in one little death room, is what I like to call it. Nowadays, I try and focus on that a whole lot less, just because, well, if you're up against some reasonable players, they're just simply not gonna stand in the objective all too much anyway. Now, having a armored turret or an armor pack from Torbjorn is really helpful. I made an entire video dedicated to explaining the differences between shields and armor. I will leave a link to that down below in the description of the video if you're interested in checking it out. But long story short, I've got shields and armor. Shield will always deteriorate first, but I will still get the benefits of armor, which, long story short, once again, basically means that I'm gonna be taking reduced damage for the duration of me having both shield as well as armor up. And shields obviously regenerate after a couple seconds, meaning that I'm gonna be taking less damage over time. So a combination of Torbjorn as well as Symmetra, as well as Zarya, for example, we all benefit a ton from having those additional shields, as well as the armor packs. Now, I did just take a crazy amount of damage. I did just immediately get some healing as well from our ally, which is great. But I'm a little bit worried now. Trying to get whatever I can here against... against their Reinhardt, but he then managed to get a nice little pin in against our Torbjorn and then took out 2 more heroes. And I think this may very well allow them to start pushing towards A. Now that my turret, or my teleporter rather, is down as well, this may get very difficult. We're trying to head towards the objective. But sadly, they did just manage to get it. So next thing is that where we're gonna be focusing on is either we could hero switch, which is not a bad option, because really the first objective is where Symmetra shines the most. But we can also still try and just simply show them or slow them down towards the next objective. Now, at this point, you're definitely not gonna be focusing on a death room anymore. I'm just simply putting my turrets down in the main alley or the main entrance ways that are available here. That's exactly what I'm trying to achieve right now. I think we did just take a full-on hit by Torbjorn after he activated his ultimate, yeah. But lucky for me, we did get a resurrection too. Now, I got my ultimate good to go. Don't really want to put it in a super vulnerable position, but I still want to put it near the action. So I'm going to put it in this little house over here. It's going to significantly still reduce the walk back time of my allies. And it should still allow them to get back into the combat a little bit faster. Now, I'm always walking around trying to provide that shields to the allies, right? It looks like I actually just killed someone with one of my turrets. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. But I'm basically just trying to make sure that my turrets are all over the place just to distract enemies, but also to obtain some more damage, obviously. Oh, man. This Genji is being rather annoying here. We can do a lot of damage to single targets as well, just like this. As you can see, he really doesn't have much of a chance. The left mouse button click charges up over time, slows down enemies, and also, more importantly, deals damage that increases over time too. Same thing goes for Genji. I will not be able, or he won't really be able to use his deflect ability on me, which means that I'm just going to be able to almost always take him out in close quarter combat, at the very least, as long as he is located near my my other units, or as long as he's located without his ultimate, right? If he's got his ultimate, things do become a lot more tricky. And it looks like so far, my teleporter has nearly gotten the 6 charges off that we were looking for, which is great. And so far as well, they have not found it. Well, actually, it just got his final charge off, I think. So the teleporter did go away. Now, one thing to note about the teleporter is that it doesn't actually... oof. We're trying to charge up a lot of damage here. It doesn't actually do a whole lot. Or it doesn't charge back up until the previous teleporter has disappeared. So I'm just trying to take out Reinhardt and Bastion here. Obviously, Bastion is gonna be quite immobile at this point in the game, but we do have another ultimate charge good to go, and I'm gonna put that over here. Once again, close to the objective, very close to the objective actually, but also a spot where the allies are or the enemies rather, are very unlikely to check. Well, they could obviously check, but generally speaking, it's gonna be rather unlikely. I want to make sure that I, you know, defend it reasonably well as well. And here's the thing about this hero, right? As you can see, I don't have too many medals. I got a couple of silver ones, but never really any golden ones, unless they really walk into your objectives a lot and they walk into your turrets a ton. But most of the time, you're not gonna be really showing up as play of the game, or like as the hero that's doing the most damage, or the hero with the most eliminations. But you're really shining at blocking off areas on the map, as well as blocking off entranceways for your allies, or blocking off entranceways for the enemies. So right now, for example, right, I won't be showing up as the play of the game, or at the very least, I'm not assuming I will. My teleporter is not gonna be a playmaker. It won't show up as the sickest move of the game, but we still do a lot of work for the team. So I always like to think that Symmetras are gonna be those hidden heroes that really do a lot more than most of the opposing team will be recognizing, and it looks like we have strengthened our play of the or our team a little bit more and getting a higher win rate once again. And we did obtain a golden medal there for most eliminations. But it's not time for the play of the game for me at the very least, because Reinhardt looks to be the one that managed to get that one. Oh man. Nice. Nice. Obviously it's me dying, by the way, in play of the game. And for the second game, I left the lobby hoping I would get on a different map. Turns out we managed to get on Hollywood once again. Doesn't matter. Symmetra is still stupidly powerful on this map. So we're starting off in the exact same fashion. Simply just allowing the teammates to get a little bit of extra shielding. Already bringing my, you know, my usefulness into play right from the get-go. And by the way, if you are playing Symmetra, please don't be lazy. Please give your teammates 25 shields. It may not sound like a lot, but oftentimes it allows you to survive that Widowmaker hit or that Hanzo headshot and whatnot. And I'm once again putting up my defenses in the same place as I went for in the previous one. And the nice thing is, if you grind out some games on Symmetra, well, you will start recognizing good points where those turrets are going to be most helpful. One thing to note, by the way, is that I would really only recommend playing Symmetra on the offense, or on the defending team rather. She can be helpful on the offensive as well. But the problem with it is that in many situations, you're just simply not gonna be, carrying your weight. And even though you can bypass shields and whatnot, if you're up against a good enemy team, you really aren't gonna get a whole lot of value out of the situation. I gotta be a little careful to the left side of the map here, because there may be a stray tracer or whatever. So that's why I'm staying close to my objectives, staying close towards my turret. Ooh. And there's actually a Winston coming here. Come on, Winston. Come into my little death room, sir. Did end up taking quite a bunch of damage, sadly. But it's fine. It's fine. Once again, it's our goal here to slow them down, right? And that's exactly what we're trying to achieve here. Looks like someone was coming in this direction. Who is there? Who is there? Oh, man. 2v1. Not really something I want to do. Gotta be careful. Don't know if anyone is gonna come from the top side here, but it looks for the moment at the very least that we've done quite a good job. The very least is holding them back for the moment. 4 minutes remaining. Quite a long time, obviously, but that is definitely something we can defend. The funny thing is that most often, more often than not at the very least, and we are gonna put up our ultimate once again in the same spot, but more often than not, after you cloak off or like you shield off a certain area on the map, enemies are not gonna be coming through that direction anymore. Although, if I take a dragon to the face, there's very little I can achieve to try and stop that. But one thing I've noticed, after you set up like a death room, like I nearly just did in that little room here to the left, I've noticed that very few enemies are actually gonna try and continue onwards with walking in that direction, even though your turrets may not be there anymore. It's like sort of a meta and like a mind game that you got going on there, where they know that they're more than likely still going to be turrets down there. But even though there aren't, they're still scary that there, you know, they're still scared that there are. Now the teleporter really, really helps so much in this position. I mean, normally the weakness of being on the, you know, the defending team, and once again, I do get taken out there, a little bit sloppy. But usually the weakness of being on the defending team, in particular in the first position, is that you're just simply not gonna be, you're not gonna be close enough to the combat fast enough. And once they trade evenly with you, you're just simply not gonna be there in time to defend the objective. And that's exactly what we're preventing by having the ultimate up, right? The teleporter, it's not a playmaker, but it changes the outcomes of the game a ton. Now, they are starting to be very aggressive now, and they actually have broken our defenses reasonably well. Turret is still going to be up here in an okay spot. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Try me, dude! He walked into my turrets, got slowed down a bunch, and he then got killed, I believe, by Mr. Torbjorn. Now, you have to commit, by the way, to a left mouse button click. The left mouse button click is very good, as long as you are close range combat with someone. And if you're up against a Genji with an ulti, it's very difficult to do anything. Oh, man. Those spirit dragons, I'm eating them from, I'm eating these spirit dragons right here for breakfast. Look at that. Just came through the wall. That's not good. I don't know if my teleporter is sadly not up anymore. And this may very well be the moment where they're gonna be capable of pushing the objective in. Although so far it looks like the turret, as well as, you know, our beloved Bastion, as annoying as he is, are still holding on quite well. Okay, once again, I'm not trying to engage the army here. I'm not trying to engage the opposing team. I'm just simply trying to slow them down. That's where I'm shining, right? And if I can put up an ultimate just like that, it's gonna be really helpful. It's gonna be really, really helpful. 1 minute remaining only. 1 minute remaining only. And that will bring them, you know, hopefully to give up this game. I mean, generally speaking, this is obviously where enemies will start pushing. And even though they may be able to kill a couple of my allies, I'm not too worried about this situation anymore. Obviously, they may still be able to grab the objective. We did manage to get a ball or like an orb in their general direction. I have gotten that feeling of deja vu several times, Tracer. Thank you for asking. But yeah, you have to commit to a left mouse button click if you really want to make it work. But long story short, put down your turrets, your sentry turrets everywhere. Try and put your turrets in positions where you know enemies are gonna walk past. Don't put them all together though, unless you're trying to defend your teleporter. And in particular, consider playing her in the first objective of the map, like the first checkpoint, I guess, of the map. The second checkpoint oftentimes is helpful too, but generally speaking, after that, it's gonna be very difficult to make Symmetra work. And I mean, I wouldn't recommend playing her in the final objective on the map just because, well, hey, your allies are gonna be spawning right next to you anyway, and the ultimate is gonna be rather pointless. Looks like we had to kill a scientist real quick, but with that, I think the overtime is gonna disappear, and we do pick up a nice little victory once again. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you haven't already, do make sure you hit that like button. If you want to see more content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. And other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I will see you all in the next one. And look at this Q of the game, man. Hitting that Q, hitting the left mouse button click, throwing around shots with the turrets. And he does manage to pick up the play of the game. But other than that, I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Bye!